Hey everyone, this is Levi with Between Two Lines. Today I want to talk about the subject that is the most important thing I'll cover on my platform. It's the reason I made the channel. I know if you came here and we're going to watch just one video, it's probably the If Blood Sugar Could Talk. But if you're going to watch two, this is the one. We're going to talk about why it's so important to manage your type 1 diabetes. We're going to talk about how to do it, what to focus on, and what you can expect when you do it. Because here's what they don't tell you when you get diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. It's that somebody's going to get owned. Either you're going to own the fact that you're a type 1 diabetic. You're going to do what it takes to manage your blood sugar, keep it in between the lines as often as possible. Or type 1 diabetes is going to own you and it's going to absolutely wreck your life. So whether you've been diabetic for 50 years or 2 months, let's get right into it. Type 1 diabetes management is the reason this channel even exists. I did such a poor job managing my type 1 diabetes that when I finally pulled my head out of my rear, got it together and started managing it better, my life improved so dramatically that those around me were like, dude, you got to do something. Make a channel, make some video, make a video. That's what it was. Put a video together and tell others about what a difference it made in your life. So maybe some other people will do it too, because I felt better, looked better, slept better. My relationships were better. Every part of my life improved. And that one video turned into 2 videos, which turned into a channel, and then the Instagram. This whole thing's kind of blown up. But I don't want to lose sight of why I'm doing it. And that's to encourage others to manage your type 1 diabetes well. So let's talk about it. Why don't you manage your type 1 diabetes well? I know, because I didn't do it. It's a pain in the rear to be a type 1 diabetic. It stinks. It's a full-time job. You got to check your blood sugar. You got to give insulin. You got to count carbohydrates so you know how much insulin to give. Your whole goal is to keep your blood sugar in between the lines all the time, which is impossible. It's a pain in the rear. You're always going high. You're always going low. You know what? Forget it. I'm not doing all that. And you end up just ignoring it and abandoning your efforts. Then you can get online or Instagram or Facebook and see the people that are doing it perfect. They look perfect. They're always happy, smiling. Their diabetes is a piece of cake, and it can be a piece of cake for you too. I always saw that and was like, no, the distance between where I'm at and where that person's at is so great. I'm never going to get there, and I'm never willing to obsess over it the way they are to manage their diabetes to that point. I don't live in a bubble. I have a real life. I got a job. I got a family. I got hobbies. I got things I like to do, and I'm not giving type 1 diabetes that much of my time. It's stupid. I hate it. I'm not doing it. What I learned and what I'd like to suggest to you is that it takes less time to manage your type 1 diabetes well than it does to mismanage it. And I only know that because I've done it both ways. You see, the people that are doing it right in managing their diabetes well, and the people that do it wrong and don't, you guys are doing the same things. You're still checking your blood sugar. You're still giving insulin. You can't not do any of it or you'll just die. So obviously you're doing some of it. You're checking your blood sugar at some point. You're giving insulin at some point. You're trying to count carbohydrates. You're just doing a terrible job of it. Maybe because you are terrible at it, and maybe because you haven't educated yourself on it, or maybe because you're depressed and just don't want to fool with it. Doesn't matter what the reason is, but you're all doing the same things. And it took a while for it to click with me that we're all doing the same things. The big difference was how long you waited to do them. Because think about if you're somebody who's not managing diabetes well, like I was for so long. I'd give insulin, but I'd wait too long. My blood sugar would run up. Then I'd give too much insulin. My blood sugar would come crashing back down. Then I'd eat a bunch of food to compensate for the low blood sugar. Then I'd run high again. It was just a circus. It was a never-ending cycle of just high, low, high, low, high, low. Dealing with the insurance, fighting the insurance, spending all the money that took. Embarrassing moments that happen sometimes. If you've ever been bowling, you can always see the kid, or at least when I was younger, they had these barriers if you were a kid and you couldn't keep it in the lane. They would raise these barriers off the gutters, so that no matter where you bowled the ball, it wouldn't be a gutter ball and ruin the experience. The kid could just throw a terrible roll and it would just bounce off the barriers all the way down until it hit the pins. That's what my blood sugar was like. It was just boom, 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 high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. Too much insulin, not enough. It was just a disaster. That takes more time and energy dealing with all the repercussions of your roller coaster blood sugar than managing it well. And I didn't believe that for the longest time. I spent all my energy dealing with the consequences and didn't spend any energy maintaining or trying to manage it. So, you've got a decision to make. If you're newly diagnosed or you've been doing a poor job and you're wanting to turn it around, no matter where you're at, you've always got this decision in front of you as a diabetic. Either You're going to own it, and you're going to do a better job and manage your diabetes better, or your diabetes will continue to own you and it will wreck everything you're trying to do. I know, because I've been there, and I know if you're there, I know what it's like, and it's terrible, and I hated it. If you manage your type 1 diabetes well, it'll hold you back from nothing. You can do nearly everything you planned before you were diabetic. All those dreams and thoughts of things you want to be when you grow up, or things, your plans you had, you can still do those if you'll manage your diabetes. But if you don't, man, kiss it goodbye. It will wreck your life. It'll ruin relationships. It'll ruin your career. It can cost you your job. It can cost you friendships. It can ruin your long-term plans. Your short-term plans, even for the day, can be wrecked. It will dominate your life if you do not get a hold of it. And it will shorten your life if you do not get a hold of it. And it will kill the quality of your life if you do not get a hold of it. Own it. This video is focused more on the motivation to do it, but I still want to touch on how. You can't improve what you don't measure. So you got to check your blood sugar. If you're pricking your finger, prick your finger. If you're wearing a CGM, pay attention to the numbers. Don't snooze the alarms. You got to measure your blood sugar, and you also got to count carbohydrates so you know how much insulin to give. Count the carbohydrates well, and then pay attention to how much insulin you require. And if it's off, make the adjustment with your endocrinologist to get your insulin to carb ratio dialed in. Next, you need to make good food choices. I'm not one to tell you can't eat something. As a type 1 diabetic, and just as me as a person, if you try to tell me I can't have a certain kind of food, you're going to be met with disappointment, because I'm going to eat what I want to eat. Now, I do say moderation is key. If you have a treat that you want, you should have it in moderation. It's unrealistic to think you're going to be able to eat a dozen donuts and maintain your blood sugar in range, on top of the fact that it's terrible for you. Maybe half a donut or one donut. So moderation is key. That will help you to manage your blood sugar better. Exercise is another thing. If you will exercise, not only will you reap all the benefits that exercise brings to the table, like feeling better, looking better, living longer, being healthier, the endorphin release that improves your mood, it'll also make managing your blood sugar easier. Absolutely does. If you're not exercising regularly, find something to do every day to exercise. Even if it's a walk around the neighborhood, it's going to make a difference. If you are someone who has mismanaged diabetes, turned it around, and are now in a good place, you need to leave a comment on this video. Everyone else needs to see it to know that I'm not blowing hot air. If you've turned it around, leave a comment letting everybody know, reinforcing that how bad it stinks when you're not doing it well, and how much better life is once you start to manage your diabetes well and get that ship turned around. If you're someone who's on the downside of it and you're down in the dumps and kind of frustrated with it, I hope this encourages you to do better. Also, if you need some laughs, follow me on Instagram. That account's funny. I promise it'll make you laugh. It's memes and relatable diabetes content. My name's Levi. This is Between Two Lines.